Okay, you see. So what did I say? That if you do not use this, okay, just after the printf statement is executed, immediately the return statement will be executed and your termination will end there. Therefore the user will not be able to view the output on the screen. Okay, so because of that, between the return statement and the last, printf statement, you have to use the get ch, so that after this particular statement is executed, okay, you get to view the result on the screen. Then this particular function will be executed, and when this particular function is executed, it will simply ask the user to enter a value, okay, to press a key from the keyword, and only after you press the key, then the control will come to the next statement, which is return 0, and then your program will be terminated. So basically it is just one kind of a break between this and this, okay, just a pause in between so that the user can view the screen. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next we go to another program. I will just show you some programs. Um, suppose I want to add numbers. Okay, so let me just use it. Hash include stdio.h. Okay, suppose I want to add three numbers and then I'll find the average. So let me just combine in one program and do it. A, B, C, and C. I have given the algorithms and flowcharts for this, so I'm just writing the code for it now. See, to enter the values, okay, I will show you in different ways. Because it is integer, okay, at first I will input the value for a. So I have taken three numbers a, b, c. I have to find the addition sum of three numbers, and then I will have to find the average. Okay, so for the three numbers I have taken three variables a, b, c to store each of the numbers, and then I will be calculating the sum. I will be storing the sum obtained in the sum variable, and the average that I get finally, that will be stored in the avg variable. Okay, so that is why I have taken five variables. Now you are to read values for only the first three variables. Rest, these are simple formula. Okay, by applying formula you will get the sum, and applying formula you will get the average. So here we are not giving any input. This you will get, you have to use your logic to obtain these values. But
Small letter.
these three values you have to enter. So that is why we are using scanf for it. Okay, so since these are integer values, so what I am doing is I am simply using %d comma ampersand a. Okay, the same needs to be done for the.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Printf a যোনটো আছে হিটো small a হবো নেকি?
একেই কথা, তুমি যেনেকে ডিসপ্লে কৰিব বিচাৰিছা, ঠিক আছে। What I said is, whenever you write inside double quotes, যেনেকে display কৰিব, this is just a message to the user. Okay, so the message can be displayed in any order. ঠিক
Okay,
আছে।
মানে int a b c তাতে small আছে।
These are small letters. These are small letters. The variable is represented as small abc only. But if you are writing any message, it is just a message. You are simply letting the user enter a value for your variable. So that variable you can use it in any way. You can write it in any way. ঠিক আছে? Okay, but here yate you cannot use as capital A here. Yate je moi likhisu dekhisa yate capital A likhibo nwara. তেতিয়াহলে এইটো এইটো বেলেগ হৈ যাব, তেতিয়া তোমাক এৰৰ দিব, not defined বুলি দি দিব। Your variable is not declared. Karan, as I said, C is case sensitive. So capital A and small a, this will be considered as different variables. তেতিয়াহলে তোমাক ক'ব যে this variable A is not declared. Declared means তুমি use কৰিব নোৱাৰা unless you declare the variable at the beginning. Okay, here we are doing variable declaration. ইয়াতে you cannot do. But here this is just a message. Printf ৰ কাম কি হৈছে, তুমি যি লিখিছা তো ডিসপ্লে কৰিব খালি, তোমাৰ একো অপাৰেশন পারফর্ম নহয় ইয়াত। বুজিছা? সেইকাৰণে তুমি printf ৰ ভিতৰত যেতিয়া কিবা লিখা, তুমি যেনেকে তেনেকে লিখিব পাৰা, যি লিখা তাকে ওলাব স্ক্ৰিনত। ঠিক আছে? সেইটোৱে কথা.
Okay, ma'am.
But the variable that I'm using to represent, okay, so that is small a. So here also you have to use small a only. So now we are done with small a. এতিয়া মই b কাৰণে কৰিম. And this is for C. If you can see, I have written 3 scanfs for all the 3 values. Yes, the same thing, instead of using, you know, eta statement also 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yes, so Ami, we had to write 6 statements for inserting values, okay, to read the value for a. So yate ami ki for one thing you can do is you can simply remove these last 2 statements and you can combine it in these statements only. Let us see how you can do it. Like I said, the same things we have taken one by one. Okay, the same thing can be combined and used in one statement only. Say together we can directly write enter the value for a comma b and c. Okay, so etate hoy gol our extra printf. You don't need any other extra printf statements. Etate hoy gol tumi ji likhisa that will be displayed. And talking about the scanf statement, it is fine, you can also add here, because we are to read 3 variables together, 3 values together. So you have to write 3% d's here. Okay, then first % d is for ampersand a. Okay, you have to enter the value, whatever value you will be entering, whatever integer value you will be entering here, that value will be stored in the first variable that you mentioned, which is ampersand a. Next is ampersand b. So the second ampersand d, sorry, the second person d, okay, whatever value you enter here for this particular space created for the integer value, whatever you, okay, enter the value, that particular value will be stored inside ampersand b. Okay, and next is ampersand c. So see, if you write it this way, your number of codes, your lines of codes gets minimized. Okay, and it will however save your time. So অলপমান এনেকে কমত লিখিব ট্ৰাই কৰিবা program বিলাক whole. Now since we are done with reading the values of a b c, now what I am doing is I'm first calculating the sum. So as I said, how do you calculate the sum? Simply a plus b plus c. Okay, this is how you calculate sum. But after calculating the sum, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to store the result somewhere. And where will we store? We have taken a variable sum to store the result. So what I will do is sum equal to a plus b plus c. So this is the statement, first statement. Okay, this is the logic. So to calculate the sum, you all know a plus b plus c. So it will be added and the value will be stored in sum. Okay. Next, you want to calculate the average, AVG. Yes. Now to find the AVG, what you are supposed to do? Sum. You already have the total in this very total of ABC saved here. So you can directly use it. Sum divided by what? 3, because it depends on the number of items that you take. We have calculated the sum for 3 numbers. So here also it will be 3 only. Okay. Now you have obtained the sum using this formula. You have obtained the average using this formula. Now you are simply to display the output on the monitor screen. For that, you have to write printf statement. So first, suppose I want to check the sum. Okay, what sum I have received. So for that, you can simply write sum of. You can simply write sum equal to %d. Okay, these are different ways of writing program. It is up to every student how you will write it. Suppose you write sum equal to %d. Okay, so sum equal to will get displayed, and instead of %d, what will get displayed is whatever you write here outside the comma, after the comma. So after the comma, what are you supposed to get? You have to display the sum. Yes, value of the sum. So where is the value of the sum stored? In this variable. So you have to mention the variable as you have written in lowercase sum. Okay, so whatever variable you mention here, that value will be displayed here. So because I want to see the sum that I have obtained after adding a, b, c, that is why I have used the variable here sum. Okay, so this is the printf statement for finding the sum. And next, okay, Next, here I want to check the average that I have received. Average, say average of ABC. Okay, say average of ABC. So instead of ABC, you would write, say, suppose you want to write person D, comma, person D, comma, person D is equal to person D. So I have 4 person D's here. So you have to be sure, you have to know what now, which person D is referring to which variable. So I want to actually display the message as average of A, B, C equal to the average value. Okay. So likewise, I have to mention the inputs here also, the variables here also. So first person D is A, second person D is B, third person D is C, and the last person D, which is the result, okay, after the equal sign, that is ABG. Okay, the sequence in which you write, it is that sequence which will be followed even for these numbers also. Okay, then finally you write get ch and then return 0. Okay, now I will check. Okay, enter the value of ABC. Suppose my A is 3, B is 4, C is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2. Okay, what do you get? Sum equal to 9, correct? And average of 3, 4, 2 is equal to 3. Now I will show you one more thing. As you can see, the sum, first thing that I would like to tell you is the output. Okay, sum is equal to 9, then we, the next statement, that is average of, the next statement should have started from the next line, yes or no, but it has continued in the same line itself. So what does this mean? That you can make use of, there are some special characters. Okay, there are some special characters that you can make use in your program. So if you want your statements to be written one statement at a line, that means one statement will be written in one line, the next statement will come in the next line, and so on. If you want it to get displayed in that way, then what you have to make use of is the slash n character. Okay, the slash n means next line. So here what you can do is, after the sum, okay, even just after this particular statement ends, jita a statement to end hobo, okay, because display ki hobo, call whatever is there inside the double quotes, that will be displayed. Okay, so just after person D you can mention slash n here, or if you do not mention here, then you can also mention just at the beginning of the next statement, next printf statement, that is here. Okay, slash n. So remember that slash n must always be used within the double quotes only. Okay, and wherever you use it, it will be applied there only. So either you can use it, because I want the sum and the average to be displayed in different lines. Okay, I would want the average statement to be displayed in the next line. So either I will use it just before the statement starts inside the double quotes only, or just after the previous statement ends. Okay, just after the previous statement ends inside the double quotes only. So you can use it in any case. So likewise here also, if you wish, you can write it here. ঠিক আছে, এনেকে যদি দি দিয়া, now we will see the result. Enter the value of ABC. Say again, I am giving 2, 3 and 4. Can you see sum equal to 9 and average of 2, 3, 4 is 3. Now okay, we have received, we have got the output in the next line, that is fine. Okay, the output is clear also. Now it is easy to read also. Now you see average of 2, 3, 4 equal to 3. Now if you calculate, sum is 9. If you divide sum by 3, what do you get? 9 divided by 3 is 3. Yes, this is correct. Now let us give another input. Let us give some another input. Say I give 3, 3 and 4. Okay. Now what do you see here? 3 plus 4 plus 3 is 10, and 10 divided by 3, is 10 divided by 3 actually 3? Is 10? No, it is a decimal number, because it will not be, 10 is not fully divisible by 3. Yes or no? You should have received the decimal number here, but you have received only an integer number. Yes, only a whole number, 3. That means the decimal part is missing. Why is the decimal part missing? Can anybody tell me?
We have to use float.
Yes, good. Because we have taken average to be what? Int. Yes or no? So this is what I was trying to say, that you have to use the data types based on what type of values you are dealing with. Because average, when you calculate average, because you are dividing something, whenever there is a division, okay, there are most chances that the answers will be decimal numbers. So that is why in case of division, mostly we make use of float, okay, float data type. Otherwise you will have loss of value. It should be 3.2 point something, okay, but because 3.3 point something, right, 3.3.3, it is a recurring number, so it has to be 3.3 point, it will go on. So because we have used average as int, that is why we have a loss of information here. We don't have the exact information. Okay, so to avoid loss of information, there is another way. One thing you can do is you can directly you can just you can remove average from here and you can make it float. Okay, float avg. Okay, and because float is avg is taken to be float now, so here rest koto changes now, we have not used avg anywhere. Okay, just in here in this example here, you have to simply represent avg by %f. Okay, you have to simply represent avg by %f. Now let us see the output, what you get. Do you understand? Actually 3.00 তখন আলাগ ছিল বাবা, এটা প্রবলেম হচ্ছে এতে। টাইপ কাস্ট কৰিব লাগিব 1 মিনিট। হা, now the result is correct. You see what happened is here, even if you convert avg to float, okay, even if you change the data type of avg from integer to float, still yet here I did a certain change. Okay, leave it. So ইয়াতে কি হবো, see, sum divided by 3, I'm performing sum divided by 3. What is sum? Sum is integer. Yes, sum is an integer value. Okay, so when you divide an integer value, the result will always be an integer. Okay, try to understand what I'm saying. I have made only avg as float. I have not made sum a float, because sum need not be a float number. Because what you are adding integer numbers, so sum will also be an integer number only. So I have made sum integer. And here also, if you evaluate this part, this right side, what will you get? Whenever you are dividing any integer number, okay, by any number, by whatever number you are dividing, doesn't matter, if your numerator is integer, the result will also be an integer. That you have to remember. Okay, if your numerator is integer, your answer after division, your answer will also be an integer number. Now 10 divided by 3 is, in terms of integer, if you see, it is 3 only. Okay, so what result did you get here? You got a 3 here. Now that 3, when you will assign in avg, because avg is a float type now, so it will simply be converted from 3 to 3.00. okay, it will simply be converted to a decimal value. So this is just a conversion of the number from integer to decimal, but we have lost the actual answer here itself, because as I said, when you divide an integer by any number, the answer will always be an integer. Because I'm dividing an integer number here, then there itself I am making a mistake. The number will be lost there only. Okay, the actual value will be lost there only. So when you divide 10 by 3, I'm again repeating, when you divide 10 by 3, since 10 is an integer number, the result that you get will also be an integer number, which is 3. Now that 3, okay, that 3 that you have received after the operation, that will be assigned or stored inside avg. Because avg is a float type, so the result will also be stored in float type, that is in 3.00 format. So that is why here, even if you made changes like float %f here, it will not make any change. It will simply represent 3.00. But the answer is not 3.00. It has to be 3.3333. Okay. So that is why what we do is, when we want to convert, see, what we will do is, we will make use of typecasting. Because here, where did you find the problem? The problem was not actually with avg alone. The problem was also with the division, because we are dividing the integer by any number. So we have to take care of this division now. Okay, so since sum will remain the same, okay, sum will remain the same because ultimately we are adding integer numbers only, so the sum will also be an integer number. But at this step I cannot afford to lose my information. I want the entire number. So what I will do here is I will try to convert this integer sum into float sum. So what I will do is there's a method which we call typecasting. Okay, there's a method process which we call typecasting or type conversion. Type conversion means you are converting a data from one type to another type. Okay, so the sum that you received here was 10. Okay, so the sum that you received here after adding was 10 only, because sum is of integer data type. But the sum here, you don't want 10 here, you want the sum to be represented in float value, so that the answer that you get also comes out in float value. Okay, so what you will do is you will convert this int value to float here itself. So what you have to do is you have to simply mention the data type inside the bracket just before the variable of whose type you want to change. So here when I will add this data type float here inside brackets just in front of the sum variable, now what happens is the data type of this sum has been changed to float now. So now my sum is no longer 10, it is 10.0000 something. Okay, so this 10.0 will now be divided by 3 and you will get a float value, and that float value will be stored in AVG now. So now if you see, I will have no loss of information. So you save it here, just save it, and now you check the result. 3, 4, 3. Understood? Understood the concept of typecasting?
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One more thing I would like to show here itself. I'm making a certain change. Just at the bostu dekhai lo. So the typecasting that I used, that was called explicit typecasting. Explicit means here the programmer has to write some code. Okay, the programmer has to write some code to change the type of the data. So as I mentioned the float here, so here the programmer, that is I had to mention to which data type I want to convert the value. So when you are explicitly mentioning in your program, that is called explicit typecasting. Okay, now let us look at another situation. Say suppose I have a situation like AVG equal to sum. Suppose the formula for AVG is sum only. Okay, the save Quora, and let us check one thing. See here. See how I have used a different formula for AVG now. What I have used, I have simply used AVG equal to sum. That means whatever sum I will get, that will be my average. Okay, for this example. Now what do you see here? Sum equal to 10 initially. If you add 3, 4, 3, you get 10 as the sum. Okay. Then in the next line, what do you see? You directly see a float value which is 10.0. Yes. So you see a float value. So talking about the 10 which is sum, okay, the sum that is talking about the 10, that the integer number 10 for the sum variable, I have simply assigned in this statement. If you see in this statement, what have I done? I have simply assigned this sum value to average. Yes, so sum was what? Integer, yes or no? But average is what? Float. So to convert this integer to float, did I have to mention any data type here in the beginning, just as I did in the previous example? Have I mentioned float here just as I did in the previous example like this? No. Yes, I did not mention explicitly here. So what happens is, this is known as implicit typecasting. Okay, when the programmer does not have to mention the data type by himself in the program, okay, the compiler can automatically take it. Okay, sometimes it happens that the compiler cannot do the conversion. The user has to mention the data type. That is called explicit typecasting. But sometimes the compiler will automatically understand. Okay, here my sum is integer type, but I have assigned this integer type to a float type of variable. So when the sum got displayed, sum was displayed as 10. But when this average was displayed, AVG was displayed as 10.0. So the conversion was done automatically. The compiler automatically did it. You did not have to do anything. So this is known as implicit typecasting. Okay, so what is this implicit typecasting actually? What I want to say is there is an order of data types depending on how much size the data types occupy in memory. Okay, starting with character. Okay, starting with character. So character is always a 1 byte. Then after character you have short int, which is 2 bytes. So let me just write it. Okay, so I will write the order. Okay, I will write the order. There's a order in ascending order. Okay, starting from the smallest data type to the largest data type. Okay, so I will write that, and based on that order, the compiler actually does the conversion automatically. So that is called implicit typecasting. Okay, just in this example, what I want to say is sum is integer, and integer occupies 4 bytes. AVG is float. Float also occupies 4 bytes, but however, int is considered to be of lower order than float. Okay, if you compare both, int is considered, because initially int was taken to be 2 bytes for some compilers. Now int is of 4 bytes, but however, in terms of order, okay, when you write down the data types in terms of ascending order, depending on the bytes they occupy in memory, int is considered to be equal or less than float. Okay, so whenever you are converting something from lower order to higher order, that the compiler can itself do it. You don't have to do the conversion. You don't have to mention the conversion. The compiler will automatically convert a smaller data type into a bigger data type. But if you are converting a bigger data type to a smaller data type, then you have to do explicit typecasting. Okay, so just I will show the order here. It will exit now.